Hey, welcome back to Black Lab Garage. Today I've got a video for you. We're putting the finishing touches on this FE right before we put it into the truck. I got some tips on sealing the intake bolts up, making it easier to put the thermostat in it, fixing pitted exhaust manifolds, and I'll show you what to do with your pilot bushing, because Ford actually had a service bulletin out on the pilot bushings for these things. So let me show you what I done. You ready? Come on, let's get into it. Well, tip number one, here we've got our intake bolt. And of course, being a FE, the intake bolt goes all the way into the head where it's exposed to oil. So lots of FEs leak oil up around the intake bolts. I mean, that's just part of their nature. What I'm doing, I went to the hardware store and found some of these little aluminum crush washers. That fits really tight around the bolt. That, well, you can hardly see it's even on there. So I'm going to use that and a little silicone. Just turn it that way. And yes, I'm still using the Motorcraft silicone. That was TS31. I'm making a mess out of this, ain't I? This is some of the stickiest silicone I've ever used, but it's good stuff. Okay. Paper towel, wipe my fingers off. And then wipe the excess off from around the bolt, because I can't stand to see silicone gooped up around a bolt. Just like that. Now who's going to know that we ever siliconed it? So I'm going to finish these up, and then we'll torque the intake. Alright, my shop manual didn't give me a specific sequence on torquing these, so it told me how much, but not the sequence. It said 40 to 45, so I'm going to start off with 25. And I'm just going to do it like we do a cylinder head, start in the middle and go in a circular fashion, work our way out. Now, just to be safe, I want to go to 45. I don't know why. I usually always go to the higher end of the torque. Now I'll let this set for a while and I'll come back and check them again, because I guarantee it, they'll need retorqued again. And I'll probably check them again one more time in the morning. That's just the nature of it. Alright, let's put a thermostat in. The way I do it, take it there, and this is not just for an FE, this works for 5-liter Mustangs or whatever. Anything that has that 90-degree elbow water outlet. Get a piece of string and run through it. And a lot of you may know this trick, but it still surprises me how many don't know this trick. Now, run the string down through the water outlet so it comes out the end. And first of all, before we go any further, make sure that the see that little slit right there, make sure it's turned to 12 o'clock. That way we don't get any air trapped in it. Now, I've got a popsicle stick I'll show you here in a second. Now take it, popsicle stick, and I've got it tied in a knot. Spin it around like an airplane propeller. You'll feel it tighten up. Now we got that done. See, the thermostat stays put. Now we can glue the gasket on and stick it up there. And then once you do that, just cut the string and pull it back out. Rubber band works even better than the string, but I didn't have a rubber band big enough to do it. I hope y'all can hear me. The wind's blowing pretty hard out here. But now it's time to put some oil in it. Let's see if she'll prime up, see if we got any oil pressure. Now, what are we using? Oh, son, nothing but the best. Super Tech. Well, actually, it's probably, in this case, Super Teach, because it's probably going to teach me a lesson for buying this cheap ass shit. But anyway, off-highway diesel. Put 4 gallons in it here to get started. That ain't enough. That's enough to get prime, but that's not full. Always shake it real good so you don't dribble everywhere. Now let's see here. I see oil. Got oil. Dude, she's oiling. Now what I like to do is turn it ever so often while I'm doing that. Turn it a little bit. Turn it a little bit more. Which now I want to show you something here. The oil in the head right here. Now still look, just spin it over with a slow air drill, how much oil is already in there. That's why they say, which all the oil's running forwards, because the Harbor Freight engine stand leans downhill. But that's why they say FEs get too much oil to the top end. I mean, literally, that's just with a drill at that slow speed. So imagine when the engine's running. Now let's trim the end of these intake gaskets off. I got a chisel that I sharpened really sharp with a file. I want to go ahead and trim him so I can stick the valve covers on it so we don't have a big oily mess over here since we know it's oiling. Now right where you cut the gaskets at, you want to put your little dab of silicone so it don't leak from under there. Now right here's something I absolutely hate having to do, but it's part of having a FE, I reckon. Put just a thin smear around the exhaust ports. I hate having to do this, but you know what I hate more than having to do this? Having to hear a motor going. I can't stand that. Now, I'm using stainless steel bolts. And you might be wondering why. Well, because a lot of people say put a grade 8 in it. Well, I've never seen a FE that didn't break some of the bolts. And when that happens, you will really wish that you had not have put a grade 8 bolt in it. You know, the stainless ones are a whole lot easier to drill out. Thought I was going to spend forever on starting that bolt. Now this other manifold, you can see how bad it was pitted along the face. So I put some tape on it, and we're going to use some of this JB Weld Extreme Heat. Not regular JB Weld. You have to get your little popsicle stick and mix it up when you first get it. Regular JB Weld wouldn't, the heat would cause it to turn loose on something like this. If I can get to focus there. It's kind of like a paste, so it shouldn't run too bad, but just to be safe I put that tape on there. I'll go around and do the rest of these and let it set up and dry. Alright, I got it put on there. That there looks a little chunky, but it'll be alright. I got it put on there and we'll let it dry overnight. Then we'll knock it down with a file in the morning. Alright, it's the next day. We can go ahead and pull this tape off. They say to test it, try to stick your fingernail in it. Well, I can't stick my fingernail in it. Now what you want to do, well, number one, don't get a piece of tape stuck to your file, but hold this file perfectly flat, which I'm trying to do this one-handed. And we're going to file this down until it's flush. Or, you know, until the pits are filled in and the JB Weld is flush with the metal around it. It'll take a little bit, but you'll get there. Alright, got her filed down there. You can see how bad it was pitted in some places. So it should seal up a whole lot better now. I mean, we're still going to put silicone on it like we did the other side, but this will definitely help it out. Alright, one of the last things we got to do before we set the motor in. You can see I've got, this is a FE motor mount for a truck here. And they are known to pull apart. You can weld you up some solid mounts you want or whatever, but I want to use these elevator bolts. I've seen people use regular bolts and carriage bolts and everything. I don't want to use the elevator bolt. Look at the head on it, it won't stick out very much. So I want to start by drilling a 5/16 hole. I'll probably do it diagonally. Alright, I stuck the elevator bolt in. You can see it doesn't even stick up higher than this little bump over here on the mount. And I put a nylock nut on the back of it. I'll take the cut-off wheel and cut that off, but which I mean, it probably won't even hurt nothing, but just to be safe, I'm going to cut it off. So now I'm going to drill one, put one in over here, and the motor mount's ready to put on. And it ain't coming apart. Alright. Got the motor mounts on. You can see I put 3 in this one instead of just 2. You know, just a little extra better, I guess. Got this manifold on, the one that was pitted up. You see me filing down. Dipsticks in. I mean, we're pretty much ready to drop it in. But one thing a lot of you may not know is your pilot bushing. Did you know that Ford had a service bulletin out about pilot bushings that they set on the shelf for a long time? They dry out, and they recommended soaking them in oil 24 hours or overnight, whatever. So a lot of people don't know that, but they actually have a service bulletin on it. So even though this one's they put a clutch in this truck right before I got it, so this one's slightly used, but I want to do as Ford says, and I want to soak it anyway because it's been sitting for a while. Outside of that, we're ready to drop this thing in, see if it'll make some noise. So the next video you see will be this being bolted in, and see if it'll fire up. So I appreciate y'all watching. Be sure and like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, not down, up. You know, I got to buy dog food again. But me and the pups appreciate each and every one of you. And stay tuned, I'll be back with another one. See you.